A story that I think is probably the most compelling story I've ever heard in my whole life. Dr. Shackley, years ago, began to believe protein was the key substance, but it wasn't just any protein. It was protein that could be utilized by the body, digested and assimilated under stress, that the body would be able to process this stuff. But then I want you to understand something else. He started to understand there was 9 live amino acids that made up protein. They're called the building blocks. They are the pieces of the protein that are responsible for the nerve fibers, the muscle fibers, the connective tissue, the muscle tissue, come from one of these 9, have to be there. So he spent his lifetime studying nature and understanding the laws of nature and how this protein was so essentially credited in human health and nutrition. Now he discovered a way, and he discovered the green soybean, and he discovered the soybean contained the most valuable amino acids if the soil provided it to the plant. So he said, you always got to follow the laws of nature. Then he says, you can't mess with the laws of nature. You can't start boiling it and frying it and scalding it and changing it, or you're going to lose all these. And these are critical. Now, I want you to understand something. This product, when you take it in the morning, it's designed to get into the body in 30 to 45 minutes. That's incredibly important, so you don't build up food in your body that's not digested. You don't want to have the piece of meat sitting in there for 4, 5, 6 days, turning rotten because you couldn't digest it. This is all digested and assimilated. But here's another key point. Those amino acids are picked up by the storage cells. In your body is a line of storage cells that pick up the amino acids and store them. So if you go into the stress reaction, the body has got access to these, not your muscle. Otherwise, you're going to go in and tear up your muscles because the body's got to have the protein. So the storage cells become a critical issue in this whole thing. Well, when you can release these amino acids, like this product does, get it into the system, these amino acids are available during the day to be used instead of your muscle. Now, I worked with the U.S. Olympic team for 5 years, and we could get those guys recovering and going back into another feat so quick because all this assimilation and readiness and usefulness was there for them. This is a very high quality protein. Next slide, please. Now, I want you to understand we all live by the laws of nature. And the value of life depends upon the quality of the amino acids, and the quality of the amino acids depend upon the plant. The plant has to have the soil. Without the soil, you can't do this. And today we have ravaged our soil. Dr. Shackley said the soil is where the birthplace of everything starts. You've got to have the soil. So when he started to grow this, he knew he had to grow it on the best soil. He knew he had the right plant. He knew how to extract the plant without destroying those amino acids. And he knew how to put it into a product that would be digested and assimilated in your body in about 45 minutes. People, this is a miracle. This is the best of the best. Now, for all these years, since the company got started, it has lived by the philosophy that nature is the sole supplier. Mother Nature is the sole supplier. And you cannot change Mother Nature. You cannot alter her. You cannot boil her or fry her or scald her. That soil is so incredibly important. So Shackley finds growers that can maintain a quality soil. So when we grow the product and they send the raw materials to Shackley, they got to go through all these tests to make sure The ground was right. The plant received them. We've now got them in the raw materials, and now we can start to make our product. Nobody on earth has done this, people. Nobody. Nobody has ever gone out and taught the importance of protein. Next slide, please. Now, the other thing that that plant does, it puts an enzyme in every cell in the plant, in every cell in your body. Our foods should not be altered by processing, refining, chemicalization, or overcooking. This induces a chemical change in the protein matter, and that enzyme is lost. That enzyme activity is completely destroyed at a temperature of 130 degrees. You must remember that the protein food is dependent upon hydrolysis by that enzyme to yield those amino acids, which in animal metabolisms are required for the life process. Why should you destroy the enzyme? And in the proof of our food, it proves the requirement of that process. Now, that is the story of life, people. That is the story that Shaklee has lived for the 60 years that we've been a company. We live, we believe it, and I just want you to know, we do not say anything. It's all Mother Nature. Mother Nature created it. We're not telling you what it does in your body. We're telling you that Mother Nature planned it this way, and why are you going to feel you can change it? Man has never produced life. So how in the world does he feel that he can have any effect on making products chemically? Next slide, please. So we today have a protein smoothie, we call it. And this smoothie has been my breakfast for well over 40 years. I have it most of the time twice a day. Now, the thing about this smoothie, Shaklee has gone through a lot of pains to kind of adapt it to our taste by using natural flavorings that are very nice, but they do not change the philosophy. The enzyme activity is completely destroyed, like I told you, at 130 degrees. You must remember, the protein food is dependent upon that hydrolysis with that enzyme. The enzyme is absolutely essential for life. Now, why would we make it any other way? Why would you think you could still do anything against that law? Man is here because of a creator. A creator designed it all. Now, why would we think we're smarter than that? People, this is a product I have lived on for 40 some years. I take no medication. I'm 80 years old. I still got the vitality I had years and years ago. I don't take any of this medication and stuff. I don't have muscle loss. I today can go out and do it with the best of them. But I want you to realize this is nature. You cannot live out of this process. This process is the creation. Dr. Shaklee told us years ago, you cannot change nature. She's our sole supplier. Next slide, please. So only the plant can produce protein. I want you to remember that. And by utilizing sunlight and all the nutrients in the soil, the quality of the plant can be no better than the value of the soil. The nutritional value in the plant requires that all necessary supplements have to be done, not chemically added to the soil. The value of the soil has given way to chemicals which affect the health of all human beings. People, it's just the law. It's just the law. Now, if man felt he could dump chemicals in there and grow these plants twice as fast and make more and more money, that's what they've done at the expense of all of us. Next slide, please. So nature and the vital link to life is what Shaklee lives off of. It's our philosophy. We've been in business for 60 years making the same product. If you'd go back 60 years ago and look at our protein, it'd be the same today as we did it then, because you can't improve upon nature. That's just the way it is. So the products never change. They don't have to change them. I'm still selling some of the original products that Dr. Shaklee came out with in 1956. They're as good today as they were in 1956. Next slide, please. So the power of nature is what I really want to talk about. And I want you all to realize this is a story, people. It's a story of life. It's a story of health. It's a story of everything that you and I hold value. If you don't have your health, you got nothing. And if you don't protect your health, you got nothing. Next slide, please. So that is the structure of the amino acid. Dr. Shackley told us vitamin C and all other vitamins are like looking at a fish bowl. There are many fish in the bowl, but which one is most important? You can't take any one out without changing the whole structure. This is why you can't replace nature with synthetics. Man still does not know what is in the bowl, what makes up the amino acid. Think about that. We don't know nothing. We've just tried to get around him and make more money selling you stuff that has no value. Next slide, please. Now, this is really an important slide, and you've got to have sustainability because the raw materials have to stay consistent. And when a raw material goes to Shackley, that product has to have everything in it that the grower gave us last year. If that should change, we lose the grower and he has to spend 5 years to get the ground back, get everything back again. So we'll buy his product. Now we pay a lot for our raw materials because we obviously have to, because in this day and age, it takes a lot of extra expense to do what we do. But when you look at our Shackley products, nature is the sole supplier. Now we just came out with a new skincare line that is a vitamin line for your skin. Now you got to think about putting the vitamin on the skin. Why? Because to get the vitamin through your body's process and get it to skin is difficult. Dr. Shackley always told us the skin needed a lot of vitamin C for the collagen. But he says you can't get it by eating it internally because it never gets there. So he said if we could ever figure out a way to infuse vitamin C into the skin, we could build a skincare line the largest the world's ever known. But people, this is that kind of product. It's designed as nutrition to the skin, and you've never used a product like that. Then the raw materials have gone into our cleaning products that all return to nature in 7 days. And we're the only company that's ever done this. That cleaning line is incredible. I used to sell barrels of Basic H to farmers to put it on their ground and increase their crop, improve the validity of their soil, increase the moisture content. We had a Basic H business that was huge, huge. And then Shackley couldn't keep up with it. But here's a product that you can use in your home, and it's all safe. And no other company today can do that. Our cleaning line all returns to nature in 7 days. It will not harm one human cell of the body. And I tell you, we've got an incredible line. And today it's used in the White House. I have a lot of industrial uses for it. I used to sell as much Basic H as I did protein. We always had a big Basic H business. Next slide, please. So the soy protein today that we use is quite unique. It's a cold extraction process. Now, why do you have to do it that way? Dr. Shackley said, I cannot take anything out of here. But I want you to look up in the right-hand corner. A lot of people have condemned soy protein because they couldn't produce it. And people got sick. And so they kept saying, well, you can't take protein because you're going to get sick. Well, that's because they didn't know how to process it. It took Dr. Shackley years of research to find the way to do this. The Maillard reaction process, whenever you cook a food, you denature it and make it into something different. In order to denature the compounds, like the antithyroid substance, then you begin to rearrange the amino acid substance in the soy, and it becomes toxic. If you don't know how to produce a soy product, it becomes toxic. Shackley worked a lot of time. I've sold this product for the 40 some years I've been in the Shackley business. I've not had one product recall. I've not had one liability. This is a unique product, people, and you will not find it anywhere else in the United States or Europe or anywhere else. I'm going to tell you something. If we ever run into a food crisis, I can live on this and I can store it. And I tell you, I do. I keep so much back. If there's ever a crisis, I can live on this product. And you think about that. A storage product that you can use every day and store and live on. That is an incredible story. And if we promote this product, the marketability of this is so huge. I do almost $1 million worth of business a month. And the reality of it is, it's because of this product that started my whole Shackley career. And I'll tell you something, people, I've used it every day. My kids all use it. My grandkids use it. My great-grandkids use it. My whole family. And I'm going to tell you something. I've seen results that are so incredible. Next slide, please. Well, I want you to realize again the glucose reaction. You do not want to cause a glucose reaction. Our protein does not cause a glucose reaction. We use a very unique fructose that comes right out of the plant. It's a sweetener, but it doesn't cause a glucose reaction. You can't cause a glucose reaction because then you activate and use insulin. Insulin will drop that blood sugar down, but it causes you to store fat. And people, you don't want that kind of life. Next slide, please. Now, the last product I want to talk about today is one of my favorites. This is our Physique. Now, this is a very unique product. It's not a soy protein product. I don't want to even talk about a soy protein product in this product. They're two separate products. It comes from a milk. Yamanouchi took us to Georgetown University when they were working on creating a product that would actually rebuild muscle tissue, stronger and longer, and they discovered milk. Now, they couldn't find a milk source in the United States that wasn't contaminated or processed. And they couldn't find any kind of cows in the United States that produced a quality milk, but they did find a herd of cows in New Zealand. The highest grade milk that ever has been found. That milk contains milk you've never had before in your life. It contains certain 3 amino acids, valine, leucine, and isoleucine, that mother's milk contains a high quality amount of it. That is the milk that recovers and rebuilds the human body. Those are the 3 amino acids. Now, they're included in the 9 I showed you, but in the amino acids, they are 3 that are responsible for recovery and rebuilding. You've got to understand, Shackley went there, and that's where we get this milk product from. It's a very high quality product, and it does some really phenomenal things. We worked with the U.S. Olympic team, and they were drinking this stuff right after they got done doing a floor exercise. They would take it, and they could recover so fast they could be back in the game within an hour and a half and compete again. It caused the recovery process to activate so fast. The muscles come back longer and stronger and more elastic. I've been on this product ever since. Now, muscle rebuilding is a very incredible part. But the next thing that Shackley did that made this product so outstanding is they discovered a chromium called chromium nicotinate. It's a natural chromium. That chromium is essential in opening up the muscle to let this in to the muscle, so the muscle comes back longer and stronger and more elastic. And when they designed this, the chromium nicotinate is we're the only company in the world that I still think uses it. It raised the cost of this product extremely. Shadi wasn't even making any money on it because we had to try to compete. But we kept it going. We've used it. We've had it. Shackley is not, it's not a high producer for him for making money, but everybody else uses chromium picolinate. It's a synthetic chromium. It doesn't work that well in the body, but people today haven't paid a lot of attention and they just buy product with chromium in it, but that's not the chromium that's going to work. So I want you to realize this is a product one of a kind. It's got capabilities that I have found over the years that are so valuable. Muscle loss from stress. Remember I told you, when you go under stress, your body's demand for protein goes up by 6 times. The body goes to the muscle because your storage cells probably don't have anything in it. Body extracts that from the muscle. You lose muscle mass, lose muscle mass, lose muscle mass. Pretty soon you don't have any strong physical primary muscles anymore, and the deterioration of the body continues, but it shouldn't be that way. Now, I've showed you a program today that I did for 7 years all over the road, all over the United States, and it was my most powerful program. I thank you for taking the time with me. I ran a little long, and I appreciate you taking the time with me to go through this, but it is such an important program. There's so many great things in it, and I do right now thank you very much for being on this with me. Thank you very much.